Assalamu alaikum and welcome to today's Sufi teachings. The Sufi teaching series we call Community Connection occurs on the first Sunday of every month at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. It is organized and underwritten by Sufi Center Minnesota with the intention of making the Sufi teachings of peace, love, mercy, justice, freedom, and beauty available to people everywhere. We acknowledge that the land Sufi Center is located on is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Dakota and Mdewakanton tribes.
Mm.
Sufi Center Minnesota recognizes and respects the enduring relationship that exists between many indigenous peoples and their traditional homelands. We are excited and grateful to have Widad Camela Kraemer with us today. Camela Widad is a dynamic healer, performing songwriter, and vocal coach whose journey into Sufi spiritual mysticism transformed her life and work. After meeting her Sufi spiritual teacher early in her career, she immersed herself in the profound tradition of Sufism and its roots in healing, discovering powerful tools to heal limiting beliefs, childhood traumas, and heartbreak. For over 20 years, Widad has dedicated herself to deepening her practice, attending numerous Sufi spiritual retreats, and completing month-long intensive retreats with master teachers. This rich foundation has inspired her to weave Sufi meditations, movement, voice work, and emotional healing into her work as an artist and healer. Her passion lies in empowering others to reclaim their authenticity, heal emotional wounds, and step into their highest potential. She travels the country as a performing songwriter, maintains a thriving vocal coaching practice, and offers transformative healing sessions for clients seeking deeper connection and healing. She is also a loving community builder and a devoted mother to her daughter. Her teaching today will explore the powerful healing of the sacred sounds within us. She'll give us tools and exercises to explore the places where body meets spirit that can transform stuck traumas in our bodies and bring us back to open receptivity. Today will serve as kind of a taste of a one-day workshop Wida will be offering through Sufi Center, Minnesota on Saturday, October 4th. That workshop will be live at Sufi Center in Minneapolis and online. Please look for more information and registration in the days ahead. And if you want to be individually contacted for Widad's workshop, I'll put the Sufi Center email in the chat. You can email us directly, or if you would prefer, you can write your name and email in the chat, and I'll know that you're asking for information about Widad's workshop, and then we'll send it to you personally when it comes out. Widad's teaching today is sound, play, healing, and light. Widad, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Aw, so sweet. I just want to really witness my appreciation for recognizing the indigenous people. My heart's always so happy when groups do that. It's such a good reminder. I'm here in Madison, Wisconsin, and for us, sometimes UW Madison is the only one that does it recognizes the Ho-Chunk tribe. So I love that that's emerging in our world right now. So thank you for that. Assalamu alaikum, beloveds. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see your faces here. I was just kind of looking around before my mug got up here on the spotlight. But as Abdullah was saying, this is going to be a taste. I'm going to try to give it as a taste and not give you too much. I get really excited sometimes, like, oh, and then there's this other thing. And my apologies ahead of time. My apartment is close to Madison's airport. So Sundays around this time, you might just hear a little background noise, but we carry on. Um, so, uh, so welcome. I took the promise in 2000, and I was a musician living in Los Angeles, and I had an album out, and I was completely convinced that I just needed to like hang up my guitar, stop writing songs, that this was not like something that was sacred. And I had some songs that were really a reflection of the love in my heart. And we were living at the land at the time, and we would sit at the lake house with Sidi Mohammed Al Jamal, Allah protect his secret. And somebody had let him know that I was a songwriter and I was a musician, and he invited me to play. And my 20 something self freaked out, and then thought, like, what, I'll have one song, I'll get to play one song for him. And it was my song called Lotus, which is all about, like, lotus, like moving through the mud of life, the symbolism that I kind of started my spiritual journey studying Buddhism, and I loved the symbolism of lotus, and I thought it was the only sacred song I had. And I got done playing, and CD was sitting there kind of humming, and his eyes were closed. And if you remember CD, he was going, and I thought, oh no, like, this was bad, like, oh no. And so I just sat there really quiet because I was just scared and nervous. And he looked at me and he said, yes, I'm waiting. And I was like, waiting for what? He's like, play another song. I was like, oh, alhamdulillah, hallelujah. And so I pulled out songs that I thought were, spiritual, until I realized that almost all of the songs that were coming from me were about seeking and sounds that felt good in my system. And then I got done playing, and I just went to the back of the room, and people were kind of mingling. And he walked up to me and he said, oh, my love, when you sing, I'm flying. And I remember thinking, what does that mean? And so it's been this beautiful journey since then to understand in myself and even in my students, like, how can we get to the place where we can clear any resistance in our muscles so that we can use the sound to help us reach that place of surrender, that place of just letting go, which is the place where we can fly. And then in 2008, I went to him and I said, how can I make more money with my music? Like, I'd really like that to be my sole income. And in true CD form, he just said, he closed his eyes, he tipped his head back, and he said, teach. That was it, just one word. And so I started to teach voice, I started to teach this, but I realized, like, when you're teaching voice, you have people from all walks of life, all ages. Some people just want to learn to sing. Some people aren't ready for the depth. Some people don't want Sufism. And so I really realized I was creating bridges between people and still bringing the living Sufism and the essence of Sufism. And then every once in a while I'd have, like, a client say, what are you really doing? Because they could feel there was something in there. So I've kind of built this thing that I'm going to share with you today, which is clearing the places in our body where our body keeps score, and maybe we've stored for later traumas or hiccups that just need a little love and some sound to help them move. And then beyond that is the playfulness that can help us heal and to bring joy. So this is just kind of something I've discovered as I've gone along, but because this is a Sufi thing, we get to do Sufi things and not just the sounds I do with my vocal coaching students. So what I want to do is share with you how, so I've kind of given you, like, what I do, why I do it, how we're going to set this up. In our in-person workshop, we're going to dive much more deeply into each section of what we're doing. But the first thing is, we want to wake up our breath. We want to create some space in the larynx. And we want to get a sense of what it feels like to direct the sound. Because if you're singing in chest voice, or you're singing in head voice, or you're making sounds in those places, they become much more powerful when you can understand how to direct them in your body. So the first thing I want you to do is put your hand on your heart. This is going to be very experiential, and since you're on mute, feel free to make sound. The first thing that I will always tell my clients, and I will invite all of you to participate in, is to allow yourself to sound weird, allow yourself to be loud, allow yourself to let your voice shake, pop, whistle, because it's only through that that we smooth it out and we find our refinement, which is true for our walking as well. So in this space, I invite you to feel the safety, and I invite you to feel the exploration where you can be perfectly imperfect. So before I go into the Fatiha, we're just going to give a little bit of this intro. So hands on your heart. This is chest voice. I want you to just make a sound as if you're talking, but you need your voice to reach maybe across the room, and you're just going to go, hey. And I'm pretending that you just did that because I can't hear you. Now, when you make that sound, you should feel your chest vibrate. Hey. See if you can feel your hand vibrate with sound. This is called chest voice because it resonates in your chest. When we do our practices like Allah, Allah, and you're in your chest voice, that vibration is doing something. It's opening up the bones, it's bringing sound vibration into all of the tissues. And so you can be sending it here. Chest voice can also reach into your throat. So if you have thyroid stuff, or if you have anything on your vocal cords, it's going to vibrate there. And then chest voice with a little bit of gusto can hit like your sinuses and what we call the mask. So do this one more time. Hey, see if you can feel it. Okay, so that's chest voice. Chest voice is going to be the lowest part of your vocal range up until it reaches a spot where the vocal cords have to start closing. And then that creates what we are going to do next, which is called head voice. So this one's a little harder. Put your hand on top of your head. If you haven't done voice or voice lessons, this might vibrate, it might not. That's okay. But I want you to pretend like you're a kid again and you're on your favorite swing, maybe in your backyard or in the park, and somebody pushed you really high, and you're going to go, whee! Now for me, the top note doesn't vibrate as much as like coming down and that siren, and then I feel the top of my head vibrate. But what you're aiming for, head voice resonance, top of the head, right? If you can think of that sound going up the back of your neck and out your crown, try it again. Whee! Good, and then bring your hands back down. So head voice is going to be the top of your vocal range, maybe the tippy top note that you can reach comfortably down to that spot we call the bridge where chest voice meets head voice and it comes together. This is going to come in handy later because we're going to experiment with the sounds that help you feel healing. Okay, now the other one is called falsetto. This one is soft, it's breathy, it carries a lot of breath. I think of this as the voice that you might use if you're trying to get a little kid to go to sleep, maybe your kids or your grandkids, or maybe you're babysitting and you're using a really soft voice. So you're gonna go, ooh. And that can be head voice, that can be chest voice. A contemporary artist that's made falsetto really popular lately is Billie Eilish. So if you know anything about music, people that sing in that soft, breathy sound, it can be really relaxing and take us into the subtlety, which in our way we call latif. So you can say your prayers in that breathy, la ilaha illallah. And there's this like, so we call that falsetto. So when you're working with your sounds, you can say, let's experiment with falsetto. Let's experiment with chest voice. Let's experiment with head voice. So that is the how when we start digging in. Okay, so now before we start doing our exercises to make space, let's everybody close your eyes. We're going to drop in and create a circle of love around each other. Going to relax down into your heart center and just begin to feel the place where you're shifting into a space of listening from your heart, listening from your body, as if every cell was connecting to the channels, and it's allowing you to listen from a deeper place as a plane goes by. Yalla. If there is any reminder to stay humble, I am humble, my brothers and sisters. Okay, so now let's open this space with the Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Rahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen. And I want you to take a breath as if you're breathing down into the earth. And as you breathe out, sigh. And with the sigh, I want you to think of releasing all of the tension in your shoulders, all of the tension in your belly. So taking another deep breath down into the earth. Sigh out that tension. Beautiful. When we begin to work with the voice, we always start with humming. When your mouth is closed and you're humming, it has so many benefits. It stimulates your vagus nerve. It can help repair so many things in your vocal cords. And it's not a big deal. It's not like tons of energy. So I want you to hum on whatever note comes to you. And you can move around like, or you can just, and just think like you're in the shower, no one can hear you, and your mouth is closed, and just hum whatever sound is coming from your heart. And we'll take about 30 seconds for that. So when I'm working with students, we would normally hum like, and we'd be warming up chest voice. We warm up the resonators in our face. But I just want you to start tapping into the connection in your body when you're making sound as we move closer and closer as we go through this session. Okay, so now let's talk about breath for a second. Sometimes when we're doing our practices together as Sufis, we're just kind of jumping in and we're rolling with that sound. And you might notice when you first start, like there might be some mucus clearing. You might feel a little tight. You might feel like, oh, I can't make these sounds today. What we're doing is basically warming up the body so that when we get into the sound, we kind of hit the ground running. And when we're working with our voices, we're starting with breath. That's the foundation of your house. And then we work on alignment through our exercises. So this is what your larynx is doing. And then it's placement, which is that chest voice, head voice, falsetto. There's another one called mix, which we don't have to do with sacred work, but it's fun to work on it. When we start with the breath, and we start to increase our breath capacity, you're going to be able to use sounds longer. You're going to be able to go into chants and hang out on notes longer and really play with, like, where is my body wanting that sound? So what I want you to think about when I said breathe into the earth, I want you to feel that right below your rib cage is a muscle called the diaphragm. When we sing, when we chant, it's so much more effective when we're using diaphragmatic breathing. But in my experience, somewhere around the middle school age, your teenage years, we get our breath flip-flopped and we start breathing into our upper lungs instead of the diaphragmatic breathing. And it's just like, it's anxiety, it's life, it's fear, but it's also the upper lung breathing is what we use for running, athletics, working out. Meditative breathing is deep into our belly, pushing that diaphragm muscle down, make space in your lower lungs, and you just got so much more juice to work with. So what I want to do is just have you breathe in as if you're breathing in through a straw. And you're going to pretend like you have a tire wrapped around from the back to the front of your belly, like right at your belly button. And you're going to try to inflate that tire. And I'm thinking like inner tube tire. So it's like a little inner tube. You're breathing in through a straw, and you're going to breathe in for 5 counts. And then you're just going to hold that breath for 2 counts. And then on the breath out, you're going to squeeze your tummy and you're going to hiss. And the purpose of this is to just bring your awareness to your diaphragm muscle so that then when we start playing, you can try to work on your breath at the same time. So when you take that breath in, if you can see yourself in your camera, or if you can put your hands on your head, your shoulders, if you're going like this, you're not in your diaphragmatic breathing just yet. So just shake that out. And what helps sometimes is put a hand on your belly button. So now we're picturing that we are going to blow up that balloon. What I'm going to have you do is take a deep breath in and let it out. Let it go. Now try to breathe into your belly for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 2. Now hiss. And then an easy breath in. We're going to do this one more time. On the hiss out, I want you to hiss until you feel like you're like, ugh, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing left. This cleanses your lungs. And when you're done squeezing that last bit of breath out, when you breathe in, it's almost as if like you are being breathed, and it's just like this automatic thing. And again, you're just breathing low. When I'm on stage, I still remind myself, breathe into my feet. That's like my shortcut. So you can use that, or you can think you're blowing up that tire. So let's do it one more time. Easy breath in and let it out. Breathing in through a straw. 1, 4, 5, suspend. 2, now hiss. Until it's all gone. And then breathing low. Beautiful. Now feel your body. Just with 2 breathing exercises, can you feel more space? Do you feel like a little bit of energy starting to kind of amp up? Like that sweetness. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Anytime I do like this or this, it's like doing the positions on the camera. I'm sorry. So just feel that space in your body and think of coming back to this kind of breath when you're doing your practices, because it will elevate your practices. It just, diving into that breath work, it can give you so much. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is the very practical tools that help wake up our body. The first one, and I'm looking at a couple people that have had lessons with me already, so you know what I'm about to do. This one is called lip rolls. So try this out. I tell my kids to imagine a horse just got done running a race, and they go. So remember when I said at the top of class that we were going to get weird and we were going to sound weird? Here we are. Here we are, beloveds. It's perfect. Let yourselves sound weird. Now, one of the things we do with vocal coaching is we create an assist. So you might go, and your lips are really tight. So what we do is pretend you're blowing a kiss or blowing out a candle. In that position, ooh, you want to hold that position. So you can assist with your fingers here. I use one hand, and you're basically getting underneath your lips, kind of on the corners, in that position. You're going to take that deep belly breath and just go. Now, I've been doing voice for 25 years. My lip rolls can last forever. If all you're getting is, that's perfect. If you're not getting lip rolls yet, that's okay. Come to the in-person workshop and I will teach you. They are such a valuable tool. When students study with me, I will like hold the line and make sure you learn how to do it. It will rehab your voice. It will release tension. And I often tell some of my beloveds coming for healing work, if you have anything like resentment or anger or rage, this is a really safe exercise to get that out of your body. So if you picture like any frustration and you just go and channel it into that lip roll, it's super, super safe. If you need to like just release some of that energy, because we're human beings, it happens, whether it's new or it's old, use these tools to help get it out of the places in your body. So one more time, we're gonna just top note, bottom note. Hopefully you can get those lip rolls. If not, I've got more exercises, don't worry. So you're gonna breathe into that diaphragmatic breathing. As soon as you get that breath, you're gonna launch pouty lips like you're blowing a kiss, and you're just gonna take that deep breath in. Now you might have noticed I'm traveling from head voice, I'm moving through that bridge, I'm going into chest voice, and I'm trying to get that lowest note. If you have experience with your voice, use this tool. You can always do it from the bottom to the top, back to the bottom as well. And just do sirens. You're prepping the voice, and because we're in this position, ooh, right? It gets the sound out of your larynx and forward. You might notice as Americans, we're very ubiquitous with what's called vocal fry. So if you hear people going, oh my goodness, oh wow, that vocal fry is putting pressure on our larynx. And you might get a little tired if you're a teacher and you get halfway through the day teaching, or if you're in the middle of your zikrs or your chants. You can just think of like getting your body prepared so that that sound can get off the larynx and hit your resonators. All right, the next one I'm going to give you, I think about 30% of my American clients can do this one. It's called tongue trills. This one is a tilde, and if you're a Spanish speaker, sometimes in Middle Eastern culture, when there's a celebration and you hear women go, the tongue is fluttering right behind your front teeth. And this is just, it's really fun. If you can do it, it kind of hammers your face and it gets these bones moving with sound, which just starts bringing that healing. So if you can do a tongue trill, same thing. Let's do it as a siren. You can also pretend like you're blowing out a candle with this. It can sound like a bird cooing or a cat purring. And these are like humming, lip rolls, and tongue trills. They're the basics, right? They're telling the body we're going to work. We're going to start warming up that sound. We're going to warm up the resonators. We're going to tell the larynx, like, let's get into some good alignment. Okay, the next one I'm going to give you, this one's weird, but it's fun. So babies, they can make sounds for hours and they rarely lose their voice, right? So these sounds can also create very deep healing for us because they take us back to these basic sounds that we made as babies. So this is goo, 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 what we would think of as goo, goo, gaga. And what we want to do is I'm actually going to play some sounds with this one. If the sound is too low, come in when it gets high enough for you. If it's too high, just pop back in when it gets low again. We're going to do what's called triads. Goes like this. And we're just going to go goo, 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 goo. What this does is your vocal cords, they're super tiny. Like your vocal folds might be the size of a dime, maybe a nickel, or a quarter. If you're a bass or a baritone, they might be a quarter. So the voice is absolutely miraculous that we can make sounds on this tiny space. But what we're going to do with the letter G is basically bring the edge muscles of the vocal folds together. So when you think of like, we used to do an exercise with CD and some of the early teachers where we would do breath work and we go, ah, 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 ah. And it's that same kind of connecting sound. So this can prepare you for that. It's stimulating the vagus nerve, but it's gentle. The letter G is going to get you up. So we're going to kind of travel up into that vocal range. Again, if it gets too high, tap out or sing an octave down. If it's too low, tap out, come back in, or sing an octave up. And I'm going to do this kind of quick. So just roll in, let it sound weird and wonky until you get the hang of it. So we're just going to goo, goo, goo. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Goo, 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 goo. Keep going. I'm going to let you just hear the music. Goo, 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 goo. You might be hitting head voice, the top. Now breathe into your belly. Two more. Last one. Good. Now on the way down the scale, we're going to do ga, right? So we said goo, goo, ga, ga. Now, the cool thing about ga is that this can help us get off the larynx if we really open our mouth. So here is where you're going to be totally silly with me. You're going to pretend you're a New York City cab driver, and you're going to bring that sound forward. Ga, ga, ga. You're going to open everything up. If you need to be whiny, that's fine. But this is going to like clear out the dust, clear out the mucus, clear out any blocks in your throat. So then when we dive into the sacred sounds, you can just fly, inshallah. So here, ga, 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 ga. So you can hear I'm kind of whiny with this because this is in my head voice. Ga, 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 ga. Ga, 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 ga. And I'm smiling. Ga, 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 ga. It helps. Ga, 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 ga. Let it come forward. Ga, 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 ga. Now keep going. Do a couple more here. Ga, 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 ga. Ga, 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 ga. Last one. Good. Now, if you are a teacher, if you're someone that's also doing workshops and you have to speak in front of people or you do some public speaking presentations, I really encourage you to create like a 10-minute warm-up routine or even just a 5-minute thing that you do every day that keeps these muscles toned. You know, muscles are one of those things where if you use it or you lose it kind of thing. But if you're reminding your body with these simple exercises, and there's tons more that I can give you on that practical level, your body will be in a position of alignment where you're respecting this instrument and the transmission of what you're giving comes through with an easier flow because there isn't anything in your body kind of holding tension or anything that blocks it. Okay, so that's a really quick, we've prepared our body. So now what I want you to do, we're going to close our eyes. I want you to drop back into your heart. I want you to listen. And I want you to feel the awareness after these exercises. How does your body feel? What are you noticing? Have the exercises created some opening and spaciousness? Have the exercises brought your awareness to places that might be bracing or feeling tight? And I want you to just make a note, just as a curious witness, and make a note where in your body you're feeling any places that are stuck or holding. Maybe your shoulders. A lot of times when we start doing voice work, you're going to start feeling the awareness of things you've held in your throat and in your shoulders for a long time. And this could be about you being your true self. This could be about where your heart meets the world and giving yourself permission to be authentic and truthful. What we hold in our throats can also be about speaking the truth and our levels of comfort with that. And sometimes it's just the place in our hearts and our spirits that's just ready to roll and just ready to like let the sound out and sing and be joyful. So what I want you to do is we're going to do an ooh sound, and you're going to create the lowest sound that you can in your body. So you can put your hand on your chest if you want, or your heart. And so for me, that would be, let's see. And I'm just listening, trusting, but making a low sound with that ooh. So you got that big breath, low sound, ooh, and just hold that as long as you want. I'm going to give you about 15, 20 seconds for that. Good. Now do it again. Different low note. So it's still low in your vocal range, but it's not the same note you just sang. Try it again in your body, whatever that note is. And I want you to just notice what it gives to you. Does that low note just make you feel great? Does it start hitting something? Does it start bringing stuff up? And just make a note of it. Now the next one we're going to do is ah. And somewhere in the middle of your vocal range. So it's not our high voice yet. So for me, that would be ah. And with this, I want you to experiment with the ah, dropping your jaw, keeping your jaw closed, smiling with your face. Ah. So that as you're making that sound, everything's moving. And I want you to find the sweet spot. So taking another deep breath in. Ah, right in the middle of your vocal range, whatever that note is. And let's do it again, middle of your vocal range, but a different note this time. Listening to your body, trust. And again, I want you to check in. What did that note bring you? Does it open things? Does it bring things up? Do you start making that sound and your body starts to close? Does it brace? Just make a note. And if you want to write anything down to remember for later. Now let's play with some high notes. So if you haven't had any lessons before, getting into your head voice might be a little tricky. So just play with the highest note that you can. You can go back to the wee, like we were on a swing again. And this one, with this high note, I want you to either do ooh, wee, or if you need a connector, the goo, goo, goo sound. When you're working with the top of your vocal range, the ooh is really gentle on the vocal cords. So right here, let's see, mine I think is going to be this. So again, I'm taking that breath into my diaphragmatic breathing and I'm going, and you can hold that as long as you want. So find your high note, take that breath, and let it move. If we have any tenors or baritones and basses in the group today, that note might be this for you. Which can pop and whistle and shake if you're not used to doing it. Now let's do another high note, head voice note, wherever it is, a different one this time, and you can choose a different sound. So you can see if you did ooh, try wee. If you did wee, try ooh and see how they feel different. I'll give you about 20 seconds for this one. Mm. And now dropping deeper into the heart. Feel what's opening. Where is the spaciousness getting created in your body? Feel your being. What's happening? What is the sound showing you? What is the sound giving to you? And it will be different every time that you work with it. You might have sounding sessions that just bring total freedom. And sometimes they bring what you need to heal, and then you go further. So just trust whatever comes up for you. Now I want you to think back. You did a low note, you did a mid-chest voice note, and you did a high note. Which ones were really speaking to you? Like the place maybe where you just wanted to hang out because it just felt so good, and maybe you started to feel yourself flying a little bit. Or whatever the sound is that was like, ooh, I need to use that to heal something. And what I want you to do next is to bring the song that is in your soul right now. So what does that mean? If you put your hands on your heart or your shoulders or your belly, wherever you're wanting to like really support you in this, the first thing that I do is I drop into my heart and I listen. There's a song in there. And it starts with really simple sounds. And then I follow it like a thread. Like maybe there's a blanket of light being woven, and I'm following the threads as they want to move. And I'm not judging myself. Like as I start to move, it might sound a little weird. It might not sound like a song just yet, but allow myself to keep moving with it. So I'll give you an example, and then I want you to try on your own. And a quick little side note, this is really, really fun to do after you've done Zikr. So when our Zikr starts tonight, and then you're all done and you're just like, ooh, everything's humming and moving, tap back into your heart and start singing that song from your soul. It's so beautiful. So when I drop into my heart and I just start listening, it's like I'm following that thread. I'm following a leader. You notice how like when I started, it was just like connecting to my body first and getting the sound moving. And then as it started to move, I wanted to be in the remembrance. That might be la ilaha illallah for you. That might be Allah for you. That might just be like, ooh, ooh, whatever it is. And then for me, even with that, I can just feel like I want to clear. It just moving something out of my body. So tapping into your heart. Close your eyes, listen, and just start following that song that comes through you, and trust yourself. Let it be messy, let it be beautiful, and just go for it. I'm going to give you about a minute here. Beautiful. Now, when we do the October 4th workshop, we're going to be taking this many steps further, where we're going to play with harmonies, where we're going to really work as a group and allow that group energy to start opening places and create healing for us. When you start working with these sounds, one of the things you can do on your own is to direct that sound into places in your body that are stuck. So if like maybe it was my throat, I might go, ah, and I'm directing that vibration right there. Maybe it's in my hip and I'm, ooh, and I'm just trying to find the sound that goes into that space, and just allowing your body to show you, like, what does it want next? What does it want to move with next? Starting with following that thread in your heart might just be enough, and that emerges. But there's so many ways that you can use this. So now I just want to do a little bit of Allah, and I want you to sing with me, and I want you to harmonize if you have harmonies, or I want you to just let it wash over you if your body's like, oh, I don't want to create sound, I just want to feel it. And then we're going to have time for questions, or for anybody to share. So coming back to your heart, taking a deep breath in, sighing on the way out. And here we go. Allah, 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 Allah. Wonderful. Now, hopefully, after the work that we did, you might notice that Allah was easier. Maybe it was more open. Maybe you found like the sweet spot where your voice wants to hang out. Maybe you found that harmonies were easier. Whatever it is, trust yourself, roll with it, and I'll open the space for anybody to ask questions. If you'd like to unmute or put it in the chat, I'll let Abdullah lead us in that.
So if you'd like to ask a question, beloved, just raise your hand, or as Widad said, you can put it in the chat as well.
And you can also share any like aha moments you had, or like, oh my gosh, this happened for me. It doesn't have to be a question. If you feel safe enough to share your tajalis.
It reminds me, astaghfirullah, reminds me of being with Sidi and in huge groups doing dhikr, like 300 people, and harmonies emerging and leaving and moving around, and it's a chance to actually feel that again and not just kind of have a mind memory. So I really thank you for bringing this practice.
Mm.
Because if for those people, most people who weren't there then, they might think that this isn't part of our practice.
Mm.
And looking back on those days, Sidi was enthusiastic about that. This wasn't forbidden or frowned upon or anything. So I just wanted to share that and let people feel free and supported as they do this.
Mm.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, beloved. C.D. has in one of his books so beautiful. He said, "Sound in and of itself doesn't carry pictures. Like sound is just sound; it's neutral. It is our intention behind the sound, and that's really been a mercy for me as a performing songwriter." Alhamdulillah. I see Aisha. I'm not sure who had their hand up first. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Aisha, and unmute yourself, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Um, I've been having trouble with my voice, and I've been telling myself I'm not breathing right. And I've Lee Holden and Qigong video one day. He was talking about the diaphragm, and I realized I do not breathe through my diaphragm. And I try to remember that, but I think that I was just looking. I went to the doctors, and it says fully abductive position. I don't know if you know what that is.
Say it again. It kind of cut out.
Fully abducted position
Of your diaphragm muscle.
in my throat.
Okay.
But like, I still go to Unity Church and I can sing up high now, and I never used to be able to sing up high.
Yay.
But I can't, like when you did the lower, I can't do my voice shakes. And when you did a la, and I've tried it, for one thing, I get really dry.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some of it has to do with the breathing.
Yes, the body is so deeply connected. And, if it was something that your heart really wanted to work through, it's worth having some massage done on the body, on the throat, on the larynx to just help relieve any tension. And a lot of these exercises can alleviate. It might not entirely change the position of your larynx, but sometimes I'm all about workarounds. Like every one of us deserves to sing and to have sound, even if it feels challenging. To have an exercise that kind of gets you there, and then you can use your voice for like 30 minutes, and then a cool down, and then you might still have to walk deeply with your voice, but yeah, that's usually how I hold it with people who have some challenges.
My girlfriend's a singer, and she says, "You're down here, you gotta get up here." Well, I don't know how to get up there and stay up there.
Yep, just like anything, you got to practice. Like there's a practice so that the muscle memory kicks in. But inshallah, if you need support, you can reach out to me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is really great. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. Mashallah. Welcome. Walia.
Yes, thank you, beloved. Wow, that was fun.
Good.
And I really noticed how I held my breath and to try and do the practice to pull it down into my diaphragm. So that was really interesting. And then, of course, to work with the sound is just really fun. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mashallah. Yeah. Yeah. After years of doing shows and warming up for shows and teaching other students, it makes a big difference for us when we prep the instrument. And I get so much more out of the zikrs and the chanting when I do, and it is joyful. It is fun. When I was studying with Fatih, he explained to us that Muhammad, alayhi salam, but the actual name Muhammad, Hamd, is like the praise, and the mu multiplies it by a number that doesn't exist. And I remember thinking, like we all come from that light. We come from the Nuri Muhammadi. Like we're made to praise. So inshallah, my hope is that at the workshop on October 4th, we'll go through our day, and at the end of the day, we'll be able to dive into an epic zikr circle for all of us to play with harmonies and just let out all of that joy in our hearts together. Inshallah, inshallah, I hope that you will be able to join us for that. We've got one more question. Sarah.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wassalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I really just wanted to say thank you. This was really special for me because it's really bringing together, I think, different aspects of my life in a way, or my life experiences. Because I was very blessed that I was able to go to a performing arts magnet school for my high schooling for vocal music. And then for my bachelor's and my master's, I decided to pursue environmental science and policy instead of going into performing arts. And all of that was like my vocal music training, and being like a semi-professional performer while I was at the school, was before I had ever studied anything about, Islam or tasawwuf, or been introduced to the dhikr practices. And then all these years later, I feel like it's kind of come around full circle again, as far as, being involved with a variety of different dhikr circles from multiple different tariqas that are in, excuse me, the DMV area, and really enjoying like sacred singing that happens at some of those. And I think it was just, for me, it was just a really, today was a really beautiful like, bringing together of like, yes, that like the remembrance of Allah and the praise of Allah can also be very connected with, the vocal music techniques. That because a lot of what you were doing, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this feels, familiar from when I used to, have my own vocal coach in high school, and
Yes.
we're doing like both individual and group performances and things like that. And so it was just it was a really beautiful bringing together, and I especially very much appreciated when you took us through the exercise where it was about tapping into your heart and then tapping into whatever is like the natural song in your heart that day or in your soul at that point, and just allowing that sound to flow out, um, because it's something that really is very new for me. I feel like I'm experiencing just since last autumn. Like up until last autumn, for me, singing has always been more imitation. That, we were trained in reading sheet music, but mostly we were trained by ear, to listen and then be able to reproduce sound. And it's actually only since last autumn, after doing a lot of healing work for myself, that my own heart space started like opening up enough to being joyful. And especially for me, it happens outdoors, like to being fully present with Allah and just joyful. It started happening that often when I'm outdoors, which for me is like the most connected with Allah, Allah started sending me songs that were like from within myself, unique, like sacred songs that nobody else, it's not from anywhere else, and it's not imitation. It's like it's just like this receiving stream. Um, and I was like, oh, I just, it was really surprising because I said, oh, I didn't know I could do this, or I didn't know I could receive this. And today, when you said, trust yourself, right? That for me is one of the biggest things that I've been working on healing after surviving domestic violence. And it's something I use as a positive affirmation for myself every day. I believe in myself, I trust myself. And then to have that, I sat there and said, I trust myself. And then to have the somatic experience of, okay, I'm trusting my heart and my body and what Allah can bring forward in this moment. And then to receive, in the form of sound, in the form of song, in the form of dhikr. It was very beautiful. It was very special. And I thank you for that.
Oh, mashallah, it's beautiful to hear that. I'm so grateful, so grateful, and I hope all of you get to really enjoy the song of your soul. Inshallah. Thank you.
So that appears to be our final question for the day. So, beloveds, Widad will be in Minnesota on October 4th, Saturday, October 4th, at Sufi Center in Bloomington, Minnesota. Bloomington is a suburb of Minneapolis. So the flyer is just off the press, and it will be out to people in the next day or so. We'll get it up on the website as well. So look for that. There is a suggested donation, but Sufi Center Minnesota never turns away anybody because of money. So we will have scholarships available, and if your heart is leading you to come and you're not able to make that suggested donation, that's fine. Just get a hold of us and we'll work something out. We turn no one away. So we very much look forward to seeing you. And if you're watching this recording, the information is in the show notes below this recording. So Widad, we appreciate you so much, and we're so looking forward to being with you in a little less than a month and soaring with you. Thank you very much for a beautiful teaching today.
Mashallah, so grateful. Thank you, beloveds.